Hey, I'm Russ Adcox with the Murray Hills Church. I'm the minister here, and we've been helping people started here in the Murray County community. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what that is and how that got started. People Helping People is a home restoration project that helps people who are physically or financially unable to renovate the homes themselves. We go in and provide that restoration work for them. So we're putting on new roofs, we're doing siding for the homeowners. In some instances we've put a new HVAC unit in, and also sprucing up the outside, doing landscaping, doing some lawn work and some things, putting new mailboxes in, new porch swings and those kind of things. The way this all got started was a couple of years ago at our 7th anniversary service as a church. One of our community values has always been that we want to serve the community in which we live. And one of the things we talk about a lot here is what happens if our church closes shop one day. Will anybody in the community care? Will anybody miss us besides the members of our church? So that community service has always been a big value for us. And at that anniversary service, I invited a guy by the name of Rick Ashley to come speak to us. And he asked me what we wanted to hear about, and I said, service. Talk to us about this church, getting outside the walls of this church, going out in the community, making a difference in the community. Well, he talked to us about that. The very next day, I had probably 10 phone calls from members with ministry ideas and things that they wanted to do and ways that they wanted to serve in the community. And one of them was a guy who had run into a friend of his at McDonald's, and they were having coffee, and they decided to put the sermon into action that day. So they stopped having coffee together, went over to a friend's house, and started ripping out carpet in this friend's house. It was a friend that needed some remodel work done, a lady whose husband was terminally ill, and she didn't have the money to take care of this herself. So they started ripping out carpet. They got about halfway through the project and realized this is a much bigger deal than we can accomplish on our own, and they called me and said, can the church help us with some funds, or can the church help us with volunteers, or what can the church do? I immediately told them to call Jan Wright.
Our minister called me one day and asked me if I could help on a house that a lady in our community needed some help. She was a single mother with a child, and she had a roof that was leaking, and we had just finished the Habitat house, so I went over and looked at the house, and my heart just sank to my feet. She needed help so badly. And I went back and talked to our minister, Russ, and he said, well, let's take up some money and see what we can do to help this lady.
Jan organized a team of volunteers, went over to that house, assessed the needs, came back and told me it's going to cost about $800 to put a roof on that house. The homeowner at the time was putting buckets out every time it rained and catching rainwater. She said it's about $800 to do a roof on the house, and there's also, we need new siding and new window trim, and told me all the things we needed done. And of course, this is a non-budgeted project for our church. We don't have any funds for this kind of thing. So the next Sunday I went to the church and said, we got a lady that's in need. We got an opportunity to help her. If you want to donate a little bit to this project, if we get $800 today, we're putting a new roof on this week. Anything we get more than that, we'll spend it on the house. Well, that day, in 10s and 20s, the church gave me over $3,000.
We not only did the roof, but we did siding, we did some electrical work, we repaired her deck, and the main thing is that we got her roof where it was not leaking anymore. But she had a lot of damage inside her house from her roof leaking.
While we're doing this, Jan gets to thinking and gets to talking with people that are helping work on this, and said, you know what? There's a lot of houses in Murray County that we could do this. We could do this all over the county. We could just go to house after house after house, revamping these houses. And so she came to me, had a little piece of paper in her hand that was handwritten on like a legal notepad, and it said Murray County Makeover, off of the Extreme Makeover show, Murray County Makeover. And she said, what do you think about this? And the difference between my personality and Jan's personality, Jan is a visionary, a big go-getter, and just sees it and goes for it. I like to think on things a little bit and work through it and make sure that we've got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted and all that kind of stuff. And I said, let's think about this, let's pray about this.
One church, one need, and that's how it started.
Now, Murray County at this time, we were having a lot of problems in the east side of Columbia. Just the neighborhoods were run down. There was a drug problem and a crime problem. And the city was looking about what are we going to do in East Columbia to renovate these neighborhoods.
We contacted First Farmers and Merchants Bank, and they partnered with us, and they gave us $5,500, and that's what started us off. And our church did hands-on labor.
So we took that $5,000, same thing, new roof, new siding, new everything, and renovated this lady's home. And that was really the first people helping people home, because the ministry is just getting organized. We told everybody at the church that we'd done our second home and how we had done it and how it had been accomplished. Well, there was a guy in the audience that morning by the name of Mike Marks, who was with Tennessee Housing Development Association. And he came up to us and said, I've got some money in the form of grants that you may be able to utilize for this ministry. And they had home renovation grants through THDA. And what it is, they'll give a 2/3 grant, and the homeowner has to provide 1/3 of the funds. And they'll do it up to $15,000 for this grant. Well, and they have to be an elderly person. They have to be a senior citizen to qualify for the grant, and have to be physically and financially able to do their home themselves. Well, the problem, obviously, is that a lot of these folks don't have the 1/3 in order to get the 2/3. But Mike said a church can donate the third, the homeowner's third, and then the government will give the 2/3. Well, that's exactly what started happening. We gave $3,000, THDA gave $6,000, and suddenly we had $9,000 to do a home.
It just started rolling after that point.
Here's a ministry where the church community, and this is an interdenominational ministry, this is not just Murray Hill's ministry. St. Peter's Episcopal has been very instrumental in this ministry. Harvest Baptist has been a part of this ministry. True Vine Fellowship, I can't think of all the churches. First Presbyterian, First Methodist. Many other churches have been involved. So it's an ecumenical movement, church communities working together, civic communities working together, government is working with us, and the business. So, you know, it's a rare thing that government, business, and churches are all working together to accomplish the common goal.
There are some things I may not know. There are some places I know I'll never go. But I am sure of this one.